Hello, guys. Welcome to Travel Chat with Z. And today I'm going to go into the whole Lagos State Marathon that happened a few days ago in Lagos from Surulere to Eco Atlantic. And yeah, let's get into it. So I decided last minute to do the bicycling experience for the Lagos State Marathon because I figured, I've never in my life since I was a child biked in Lagos. So growing up, we had bicycles at home, so we biked down and up and down the streets, and it was easy, it was simple, it was safe. But then I never really felt safe biking in Lagos because I drive in Lagos and I know how I drive when I see bikes around me. I get nervous. So I feel like it's not safe to bike around cars. I don't quite know how to drive around bicycles. And we don't have safety lanes, bike lanes for bicycles, even pedestrian like walk paths. We don't really have that in most parts of Lagos. So I just never felt safe biking in Lagos. But then I figured for the first time, let me even experience this and actually seeing Lagos from a different perspective by doing the marathon by biking from Surulere to Eco Atlantic without any training. Hot mess. So that whole thing happened, and my I'm just going to go over the little things I found some problems with, and I hope Lagos State will, maybe they'll see this video and say, let's do what Zainab says. What are the chances? But you never know. I'll always try at least. So in this one's case, they said that they would have the roads blocked off from 6:30 a.m. And so for those of us who plan to go and be in a marathon and be a part of it, we started leaving our house by 5 a.m. So I know that on Saturday morning, I left my home like past 5 in the morning, and I drove my car to my uncle's home in Lekki, and I called Uber to come get me like 2 6. The Uber got there like maybe 5 past 6, and by the time we left my uncle's home in Lekki one, Admiralty Way was already pretty much blocked off, and that was about 6:10 in the morning. So based on the timing and how I worked it out, we should have been in Surulere by like 6:20 because when it's like clear road everywhere is like you can just get there really fast in Lagos. But because we have traffic all the time, yeah, I figured, clear road, easy to get there within a good time, no wahala. So left Lekki one, had to go back through the third roundabout to go through the Oniru way. It was a very convoluted experience, and it was chaotic, and it was frustrating, and it was a nightmare. One of my cousins actually left the house at 5:30 a.m. and at that time he couldn't get out of Lekki Phase 1. An hour before they planned to block the road. They could have blocked the road by 8 a.m. instead, but then they felt they need to block Lekki Phase 1 from like 5:30 a.m. So help me ask Lagos State what the hell was going on with that, because that made no sense to me. And so it took myself and the Uber driver like over an hour just to get out of VI because everywhere we went to. Oh, and also they were smart enough to do a thing with Google, but then it wasn't completely done. So on that day, Google Map was showing some roadblocks for the marathon, but then not everywhere was blocked off according to Google Maps. So we said, okay, well, over there is red. Let's go on that path and let's get out of this area through that road, and we'll go there. Oh no, they just placed more blocks on that road. So everywhere we went to was a new block happening or just happened, and we couldn't go past it. And it was non-stop, like I almost started crying. Like at a point when we got onto the what's it called? The Eco Atlantic Road, what's it called? The Barbage Road, and we're just about to turn, and just like because they had blocked the way through VI, so we had to go all the way down Ademola. No, I just said I don't know VI streets. I'm sorry, I've been living here for the past 10 years, and I still don't know VI streets. But we sure drove past down the SIP road, and then turned into the Barbage Way, and we were like, oh, we just blocked it, so we couldn't go. Mopos could go through, but we couldn't go, and I'm like, yo, like I'm just trying to get to Surulere and just be part of this marathon. I've been here for over an hour. Can I just go? Let me just drive down this beautiful road and get to the bridge and get to Surulere and just be a part of what I really want to experience today. And they said no. And so, luckily, I think because we're just so frazzled and so frustrated, we forgot to just simply drive through Falomo. And that was the only path that was open on that day. Everywhere else was closed. All the toll gates were closed. So it was a very frustrating experience that day. Finally got to Surulere by 7:30. And so luckily my bike crew was so kind and waited for me. And then from there we, went off into Surulere and out to Anthony area to pretty much be a part of the marathon. And yeah, I was so grateful that they were very patient with me because I hate being late and being the one to cause that lateness. Oh, I was so embarrassed that day. It was, yeah. So Lagos State, when you say 6:30 a.m., actually mean it. Don't be 1 hour early and then screw people over who do want to be a part of the marathon, because they're like, you have to go and run. You should be here by 4 in the morning now. Like, shouldn't you be there by 4 a.m.? I'm like, but y'all said 6:30 in the morning you cross the road. It is not freaking 6:30 in the morning yet. Why are you doing Asheju? Baba Ashite? Help me ask them. So let me know even. Anyway, so biked, and it was an experience that I would definitely take on again. But then maybe go with my own bike next time, because sadly the day before the biking experience, road safety had gone to the. So I don't have my own bicycle, and many of us don't have our bicycles. We're gonna rent from a company in Ikoyi, and his shop was in Ikoyi area. And sadly, the night before the race, road safety had gone to his shop and just pretty much seized his bikes, because he had some that were on the road, where he's got like his outdoor like viewing spot where you can see all of his bikes. And they were like, oh, why are you on the road? But then he wasn't really on the road, he was actually on. Anyway, I will show you a picture of where his bikes were actually parked at. But then they seized a good number of the bikes that we had already booked. And so we had a bit of a problem, because many of us who had already gone there to check the bikes to make sure it was up to standard of what we would like to, ride on for the marathon day, we were out of luck, because on the marathon day he only had his backup bikes that were not as good as the ones we had booked. And so I had a bit of problems. My tires were a bit flat. So already problems. Tires are a bit flat. The gears are not really working. And so I'm just here walking down the bridge, waiting for the bike repair guy to come meet me. And the problem was, like, I picked a good bike before this race, but then the task force went to his office and took like a bunch of his bikes that he planned for us to use, and so he could only just give us the bikes he had available. But then luckily he's around for support during our race, so I'm just waiting for him right now. The gear wasn't really working well and I was already late, so at that point I didn't want to have people wait for me. I just chose to stay and wait for him to come meet me on one of the bridges to help me maybe pump the tire or help me fix the gear. But then luckily he gave me a different one to just ride off on instead. But that time was over about maybe 40 minutes after they already left that happened. So I was way behind everybody else. And so I kept biking on to Anthony Village area, and then saw BRT is about to turn, and then I was told to turn. Okay, the weird thing about the race was that they didn't have signs everywhere. Like they didn't have like arrows pointing you to where you need to go to. That was interesting. Where luckily they had some last mile officials telling you to turn in some spots, but then they weren't there the entire time. So some people, I don't know if this happened, but then I believe some people probably got lost because like they didn't really have directions letting you know where to go to. So if you're not really from Lagos and not quite familiar with how to go around mainland of Lagos, you probably would have gotten lost because they had no signs. They had no signs of the for in some parts, and so luckily I saw the last mile who were telling the BRT where to go to. It was a whole hot mess, and then at that point I'm like, yo, it's hot, and I'm seeing the BRTs over here. I'm not tired yet, but hey, there's AC in the BRT bus. So one of the drivers said to me to come into the bus, like, oh, you can come into the bus. We have AC. You can bring your bike in also. I'm like, sweet. So I got to finally get on the BRT for the first time in Lagos. So entering my first BRT. My body. So I was offered a ride, and like, well, I'm way behind my group, where I had to stop to get my bike fixed. So I'm just gonna get a bus to go meet up with them, like right now. So I now know how BRT works in Lagos, and it was actually pretty clean. It was nice. I found that it was not enough like seats in there, which is odd because like it's the bus that like Lagos is massively overcrowded, and having one of the main buses not have enough seats was a bit interesting. It was a bit like one of those nice buses you find in Europe, not the ones you find in New York, where in New York every space is maximized, and so they have a lot of rows of seats for you to sit down on. Whereas the one I saw here was just like it was a bit posh, and that's nice, but then it just felt like it was a bit of waste of space. They could have had more seats there for passengers on that bus, but then that's just me. But yeah, that letting people know where to go to as they were racing along the expressway. Now, the third very important part was security. I found security to be quite lackluster. They had more security blocking the road than securing the road, and I just found that very odd and very scary. Where many times I felt insecure, and because when I was biking, it was like mainly empty road and not enough like actually zero security for the most part until I got to some turning and junctions, and I found a few of them pointing me the right way. But then for the most part, as a single female biking along the express, I had to pedal really fast in some part because I could see some kids just eyeing my armband. I had my phone attached to my armband, and I could see him eyeing me up. I'm like, I see you seeing me, so if you come in, I will hit you. But then I was just like, pedal really fast. That way he won't try and snatch my armband and my phone along with it. And security was a problem because beyond that, many folks got robbed during the race. Many folks got robbed at the point of the finish point, where one of the girls in the biking group, someone like they slashed her bag and stole her phone out of her bag and her belongings. So that was disappointing. And at a point, I got into a mini stampede where the race was done and they were having the closing concert happen. I think it was David O who performed for the last bit. It was pretty chill, but then there was just so much underlying like angst in the crowd where coming in here I saw some protesters, some silent protesters, just like having a sign saying that will the ferries come to my shop, will the ferries come to my home. And so yeah, because we've got an issue locally right now with the ban on Okada and tricycles, so it's a bit terrible right now. At a point, people were thirsty, and they had a lot of like water stands everywhere. So I don't understand the level of thirst people were going through because there was so much water. You could have gone to the stands to go get them. They had free drinks, they had free 7-Up, they had free. I think there was iced tea. There were different options for people to just go to and get whatever they needed. But I guess once they were closed up, folks wanted to have what was then closed up for, and then the drink vendors were taking their drinks into the truck. And I saw this young lady who was carrying a pack of 7-Up to the truck, and one of the guys was like, I want one bottle. She's like, oh no sir, like we're done for the day. My boss had me take this. I can't give it to you because she will charge me for giving it to you. And he was arguing with her, and I just saw him switch to a more physical stance, and then he ran to her and just snatched a bottle from her. And like, me naturally, I can't help myself, but always just like try to help out, even when it kind of was stupid. But then like, nah, I can't let them attack this young lady. So I ran, I'm like, leave her alone, because number one, there are people everywhere, and I couldn't leave the bike behind, because they would have taken that bike, like no joke, they would have taken that bike fast. And so I'm like, leave her alone, don't touch her. And then took the bike, was like, the girl was on the pavement, I was on the main road, on the Eco Atlantic Road. I then like climbed up the pavement with the bike, like leave her alone, and like, ran into him with the bike to push him away from her. But he took the drink and he walked off with it. And then like, oh hey, are you okay? Are you okay? Okay, let me help you up. So I helped her out, helped her and hold on to her back and like have her like package. So she was crying. I'm like, what about I just walk with you to where you're going to? Like, don't just go together as a group. And the next thing you know, the other guys who were trying to like beg for drinks at like the truck stop saw what happened and they ran to her. Like they had this massive truck that had all of the drinks stored in, and they were giving some drinks out to them from the truck. But then people just didn't want to wait, and she just seemed so easy a target that they just ran to her, and they pushed me off the bike. I was shoved off on the bike. The bike's gear and the wheels came the chain came off the gear. I'm like, luckily I was still holding onto her bag really tight. I was safe, but then like she was like shoved, and they just like took all the drinks from the pack from her, and it was the most mind-numbing experience ever in my life. I've never experienced that before, and it was scary because it was from that one situation to a mob coming at us and just rushing just for 7 Up. And there was no security. Like security, they were gone. Like that blew my mind, because like it was meant to be a very safe event. So I would have thought they would have security lining within the area for the race itself, that was like where the event was taking place, the finale of the race. But then once the people were okay, you've won the race, and the VIPs, the governors, and these VIP guests were out, security was pretty much done and was gone. And so many terrible things happened, and many people got robbed. And I actually planned to film a whole drone shot while I was there of me biking down the express and just like just showing Lagos in a different way. I just didn't feel safe. I'm like, I'm not gonna open my bag here and have people know what's in my backpack. Let me just keep it simple. Left my phone in my armband, but luckily, even where the phone was, you couldn't see it from outside, because I put it in the inner zip covered black area, so you couldn't really see what was in the armband. You simply just saw all black. So thank God I had my phone placed in that kind of spot, because I feel like if I was a lot more obvious what I had on me with my camera and all of my gears, I would have been robbed, in that space. And it was scary. And so that was pretty much number three, where security was not there. And number four part that I find quite laughable is that I read about how they want this to be a tourist event where people are coming in to come and race from other countries. And that does happen, where Kenyans pretty much won the race, and Nigerians haven't won the race in a very long, actually ever. Have we ever won the race before? I don't think Nigerians have won this race ever before. But yeah, I think Kenyans won last year. Kenyans won this year, so it's not really been a Nigerian winning the race. So it's pretty like, they come in to come and race, because they do earn some pretty good money from winning the race. But then it's not a big an event. It's not as big an event as the New York Marathon, the Boston Marathon, the ones in other countries, pretty much, right? So I guess they wanted to become on that international level of, inviting folks to come and, experience Nigeria and Lagos through the marathon. But how will you invite folks when you have the most basic things not being done? Like, how can you, why are you not following your own rules? You say 6:30 a.m. the roads will be blocked, but by 5:30 a.m. they're already blocked off. How does that make sense? Help me make it make sense, please. Because how do your racers get to their starting points on time when you blocked the roads already? Please help me out here. Second part, no directions for the most part. Like, if you're able to like you just simply just see into the future and know that yes, when you turn here, you get onto this part, then you know where to go to. But then for the most part, if you're a bit behind the crowd and you kind of like walking the race, you will get lost if you're not really like aware of Lagos roads, you will get lost. And so that was terrible. Another one, security. Yeah, got into a mob issue. My friend got robbed. Many folks got robbed. It was like we had a lot of, oh, someone's phone was stolen. Like this, many phones got stolen that day, and many people went there with the plan to just simply steal from people who were at the race. So the fact that security, despite saying, oh, because they actually did warn people that, okay, hey guys, coming to the marathon, be careful. Things do get stolen, be careful. But I found it quite sad that despite knowing that they have a problem with this issue, they haven't tried to resolve it by having more security around to not allow for that to happen. Although to be fair, I did see them catch one person trying to pick into someone's pockets, and the guy got beat up really bad. But then that was the one time I saw them, actually like actively catch a thief, because when the guy was caught, others still have like similar issues around that area anyway. So it was like a lucky thing for that person to not get robbed. But yeah, it was not what I thought it would be. I hoped for better, and it wasn't as great as it could have been. Another thing to note was that the drinks were hot. Like, for those who don't know how warm Lagos is, on average, we're about 35 degrees on average, and it's usually sunny. Every day is summer for us in Nigeria. Even during our Hamatan dry season, it's still pretty hot. It's still about 35 degrees. It's just simply more foggy, but then it's still quite hot, and it's just drier during Hamatan. So it was dry and it was really hot, and we were being served warm drinks. But luckily, I had my 5 liter bottle of water into the freezer and had about 4 liters frozen with the last 1 liter with just water. So I had enough cool hydration with me the entire time. But then the drinks were pretty warm. The water was warm, 7 Up was warm, everything was warm. And I just thought, okay, that's not really helpful for those who are dying of hits out here. And I was like, here, have some warm drink to cool you down. Lagos will not kill me. But yeah, so that was for the most part the marathon. It was I enjoyed the experience. It was nice to know I could do some parts of it because I'm not really a biker. So it was nice to know that I could bike that far and actually go as far as I did go. So that was great. But then for Lagos State and Access Bank, the sponsor of the event, I really do hope that they do try to follow through with the plans and implement them better. Have the directions, just arrows, just pointing, turn left, just turn right. Just have those. They're not that. I don't think they're that big a deal because you can have done that like the night before or something. But then just make it a lot more structured and a lot more helpful for the foreigners who you want to invite to make the whole tourist experience. You get? Yeah. Now I don't get lost and then enter one chance in Lagos. Like that would suck. And then what else? What else? What else? I believe that's pretty much it of what I found of the experience. I feel like it was not a bad experience here, but I think I rambled on enough for today. So I hope you enjoyed Travel Chat with Z today, and make sure to check out my website tomorrow for some travel deals coming your way. Some really cool deals that ends on Friday. So definitely check in on ZeeGoes.com for some really cool deals. So until next time, peace. Subscribe! I can't even move. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, so are you following me yet? Are you subscribed to my channel? Have you hit the like button and the notification button? If not, kindly do so right now. I beg. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Subscribe.